Welcome. Welcome everyone to this Roll Out Your Mat. As we record this, it's a Saturday and we're doing these sessions about once a month. And if you sign up for one, I keep altering the Zoom setting of it so that you get a notification every single time that we do it. Now, if you don't want one, you can unregister. So apologies if that's a nuisance to you. I will probably live stream the recording into the group. As anybody that's here in the Zoom room knows, any of our discussions are not included in the recording. And what we've got, we're going to have a little centering. We're going to have a little check-in because we haven't seen each other for a while. So we're going to have a check-in first. I see some smiles in the room. And then we're going to move down to the mat. But you can join this practice from wherever you are. If you are on the mat or on a chair or on a sofa or in bed, there are options for everybody or almost everybody. So let's start with our centering. And as ever, I encourage you to keep your eyes open so that you can practice centering and use it in everyday life. But if you want to close them, you do so. We're following ABC. A for awareness. So notice the space that you're in, the sounds around you, the temperature of the air. Even look around the room and notice whatever you can see, what's in your visual field. No need to get attached to any stories, just noticing. Notice any scents or smells. And then bring the awareness closer inwards. How your body is resting on furniture. The contact with the ground if your feet are there. And gravity pulling you down, but your body rising up, the earth rising up to meet your body. And then awareness, how you feel on the inside. How am I today? How is this body today? Perhaps there's something calling your attention. Sensations, pain, pleasure, tension. And then notice your breath. Your cycle, continuing in the background, inhaling. Pause and turn into the exhale. The gap and turn back to the inhale. And then B for balance. Have a little rock. Forwards and backwards, side to side, up and down. Find that sweet spot of least effort. Your body supporting your body. Perhaps you can bring some balance to your breath. Breathing in and out equally. And trying to avoid the inhale being longer. We want balance or a slightly longer exhale. And then C for core. And we're looking for softness in the core without collapse. Softness through the forehead, the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw, the shoulders, the chest, the belly. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Exhale, let that softness go right through the core. And once again, and this on its own is a really good centering. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and even have it audible. Feel that softness. Tension slipping away. And then second C for connection. bringing to mind a person, a pet, someone past, present, future, your inner self, your future self, someone that makes you feel safe, warm, makes you smile, or if you're here in the Zoom room, perhaps take a look on the screen. Some of you know each other very well, some less so. Some friendly faces, smiling back. And then pause for a moment and notice any shift in how you feel. There may not be any, but there might be. And then let that go. Okay. We're going to have a little check-in. We'll keep it quite brief because it's already 18 minutes past the hour. We do tend to talk. Those of you that watch the recording, you have no idea how much connection there is in this Zoom room. So, an invitation to check in, also if you're watching the recording, and perhaps with colour. What colour are you today? It might be a mixture of colour. It might be a sparkly colour. It might be a vibrant colour. What colour represents how you feel today? For those who really were looking forward to a longer discussion, we'll make sure that there's space at the very end if anybody really wants a good chat today. But for now, let us check in with colour. This is optional. You do not have to. This won't appear in the recording. Okay, so last time some of us were together, we were on a Mindful Monday and we were talking about compassion, and we have not had enough of compassion. Compassion comes up a lot for us. And I was thinking, and I did a Facebook post about this as well. You may or may not have seen it. My website is a disaster and I've managed to delete all of it. And I am trying to set it up as a blog so that my posts can be saved somewhere. But I was thinking about compassion in the body. So my invitation to you is to come back to the concept of compassion, first for self, because we start with self, also for others. But where is it? Where is compassion? I love that, Dilys, you have gone into a hug. That's wonderful. Where is compassion in your body? Where do you feel compassion in your body? You might not know the answer. Does compassion have a colour? Or does your colour... These are not questions for you to have to write out and answer. These are questions to ponder. But I might put them in the group when I live stream it. Where is compassion in the body? What's it like? What colour is it? How does it feel? And is the compassion for self in the body different to compassion for others? Has it got texture? Has it got flavour? What is compassion for you? I'm going to move over to the mat and we shall start. Right, so finding a position that's right for you to start, sitting wherever you wish, however you wish. With pets, for those watching the recording, there's always cats in the Zoom room. Always cats. There's dogs as well sometimes, but there's a fair number of cats, which is lovely. Do cats feel compassion? I'm not so sure they do. Oh, the Zoom room thinks they do. So, throughout this practice, an invitation to sense into compassion and perhaps cultivate your self-compassion. And I know I go on a lot about self-compassion, but even when we think, oh yeah, I've got that, we tend to abandon it when we need it most. Yeah. So pause and notice. Notice how you feel. Just arriving. And then for those that wish to, come and lie down. If you wish to stay seated, that is okay. But resting down otherwise, or back in your chair if you're seated. Now if you lie down, you might find that lying down initially is really uncomfortable, so you might prefer to bend your knees and place your feet flat. And tuning into the body. A little scan through the feet, the toes, the hips, the belly, the chest, the arms and hands, the neck, the head. And notice if you're aware of compassion. Maybe it's there, it's tiny. Maybe like a seedling that needs feeding, needs water to grow. Allow yourself just a few moments here. There's nowhere to go and there's nothing to do. Be. Be in awareness. And then if you're lying down, stretching out the legs. If you're seated in a chair, stretch out your legs in front of you and maybe flex the feet. Take the arms up overhead and come into a full body stretch as much as you are comfortable to do so. Stretch, 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 then soften a little. And stretch again. Then soften. Perhaps bring the knees into the chest. If you're sitting in a seat, take the feet flat to the floor and bend a little at the waist towards your knees. So you're kind of in the same position, but not hard, you're not pushing. Have a little rock side to side. You might take some circles. So with your hands on your knees, you can take circles. I'm just going to show you for seated. You can't do it wrong. You might come onto your toes, take your feet flat, go in each direction. You might even lift one, then the other. Whatever feels good. But letting your awareness arrive in your hips, because it's your hip joints that are moving. It's like your knees are drawing the circles, but the movement's coming from the hips. Change direction, even do different directions with each hip, with each knee, it doesn't matter. And then come to rest and let the feet be flat, whether sitting or lying. And is the sensation different in the hip joints now? Sometimes when we get an instruction like circles, I'm the worst for this. I rush ahead and make circles without feeling into it first. And take out the arms, sitting or lying, and let's take some circles. You're drawing circles with the hands in the air, your arms are straight, but circles are coming from the shoulder, but gentle. And then perhaps a stretch at the shoulder, so reaching the right arm across the body. You might take the left hand on the upper right arm, not to force it, but just to give an increase stretch, but gentle. None of this should ever hurt. Although I do think that after an unfamiliar practice, you sometimes can ache the next day, and I certainly do. That's okay. We just don't want pain. Swap sides, arm across the body. And if at any point my sound goes because of the position I'm in or anything, do let me know. And let go. Perhaps let your hands rest on your belly. And pause. Well, have a pigeon here. So I'll show you lying down first, a reclined pigeon, but I'll show you a version seated as well. So 1 foot flat on the mat, flex the other foot, ankle to the thigh or the knee, and encourage that knee away. You can keep it there, or you can lift the foot off the mat and take hold around the thigh. Let me show you seated. It's just the same, and any pose that doesn't feel right, don't do it. So in its first incarnation, flex the foot across the other ankle. Just let this knee roll out to the side. You can take it higher, you can rest it on a footstool, you can even take it into the same position with your ankle across the thigh. And, should you wish, you can lean forward a little, just a little. You'll feel the stretch through the hip. Some people like to do this against a wall as well, actually, with the foot that's lifted off the mat. It can go against the wall. Notice. And then gently let go. Take the feet flat. Let them windshield wiper the knees. And swap sides. Flex the foot to thigh. Find where it's right for you today. And it might vary. Certainly does for me. Might even have a little rock. Have a few moments here because you did the first side because I got up and down to the chair. Notice. Gently let go. Take the feet flat again, whether you're sitting or not, and let the knees drop side to side. We'll have a gentle twist. So, feet are flat. Let the knees drop over to the left side. It's a very gentle twist. Same if you're seated. You can stretch out your arms and take your gaze to the opposite side. Your hands can go flat onto the sofa or the chair. Then windshield wiper, gaze back to centre, and drop the knees over to the opposite side. Gaze away from the knees. Just notice what you can sense and feel that you were not aware of before we started. One more swing around, windshield wiper, knees back into the chest again. We're going to come up to seated, so you can either gently push up to seated, stay seated if you're already there, or you can have a little rock and roll. And I don't always like a rock and roll, but sometimes I do. If you're on a mat, sitting on a rolled up blanket or a cushion or a block's not so comfy, and just having that at the very back of your sit bones. You can sit in a chair instead, but make sure at this point that you're not completely rested back into the chair. If that's what you need to do today, that's okay. But my invitation is to sit a little forward and tilt the pelvis a little forward, and having a cushion under the back of the sit bones helps do that. Because otherwise we tend to slump and we're looking to sit tall. Pause and notice again. Sensing into this body where compassion sits. Perhaps you don't even know yet. It might become clearer over time. Okay, we'll take some side stretches. So I'll mirror now so that my left is your right, so that it looks better for you trying to follow. Right hand down to the mat. Inhale, sweep up the left hand. Exhale, have a gentle side bend. Inhale, back up. Arm down. Exhale. Opposite side. Inhale up, exhale over. Inhale up, down. Now move at the speed that's right for you. And just a few each side. You can have it flowing or you can be really slow. Asking what this body would like today. What does it need today? They're not always the same thing, of course. And after you've done an equal number on each side, it doesn't matter how many, come back to centre. And we'll pause until we're all caught up together. Whenever you pause, notice. And if you think, what am I noticing? Just have a quick scan through from your feet, up your legs again, through the hips, belly and chest, down your arms to your hands, and back up the neck to the head. We'll have a seated twist. And it's fine if your feet are out in front of you. If you're in a chair, that's okay. Inhale, lift the arms to the sky. Exhale, hand to opposite knee. Other hand behind or just next to you. You're not cranking round. Just gentle. Take a few breaths. And then come back. Inhale, arms up. And to the opposite side. Exhale, twist, but gentle. Take a few breaths. And then carry on side to side, either really slow or moving with each breath. No right way, no wrong way. And after you've done an even number on each side, and you know what, if you lost track, it doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter. Come back to centre. In yoga especially, we tend to try and do things so symmetrically, and yet we are so not symmetrical beings, as you know. Pause. Notice. Have a gentle forward fold here. So lift a little, lift the chest, tilt the pelvis, and walk the hands, even if your feet are out in front of you and you're in a chair, a little forward, hinging at the hips. It's not a competition. You don't have to get down to the floor. It's only as far as feels good. And wherever you're at the bit that's right for you, pause, drop the head. Carry on breathing. And then gently walk the hands back. Coming back up. Okay, if you're on the mat, we're going to meet in tabletop, but you can do this from seated as well. I'll show you the options. So, if you're on the mat, coming to tabletop, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, pushing the fingertips into the mat. We're going to have cat-cow. You can do exactly the same seated. Hands on your knees. And for cat-cow, lift through the chest, push the belly forward, the spine curves. Then as you exhale, round through the spine, chin to chest. Same in this position. Inhale. Lift through the chest, drop the belly, exhale round through the spine, chin to chest. Lovely. And just taking a few cat-cows that feel good to you. Waking up the spine. And tapping into that sense of self-compassion. Where is it? Does it move as you practice? And then when you're ready, just come back to a neutral position, seated or on the mat, and push back to child's pose if you're on the mat. And if you're seated, fold forward a little, especially over a cushion would be good. Let me find a cushion. So folding forward, cuddling into a cushion if you're seated. If you're on the mat, folding down to the mat. You can take your knees wider if you wish. That feels good. Pause a moment. If any pose isn't right for you, you don't do it. You can always visualize it as well. Just imagine it in your mind. And gently coming back up to tabletop. For those of us on the mat, we're going to come down to the belly. So, I'm going to have some cobras here, but you can do cobras in the chair as well, so I'll show you that in a moment. First of all, hands are under the shoulders, a little bit wider than you normally would for a little bit gentler. And wherever you are, sitting in a chair or on the mat, in your mind's eye, visualize a cobra. Inhale and lift through the chest in your mind. Exhale and lower. Now a cobra, if you don't know, is lifting through the chest, a bit like this. But my invitation to you is to keep it really gentle. And if you are sitting in a chair, hands on knees, and you're lifting through the chest, opening the heart, gaze is going upwards, a little bit like when you're doing cat-cow. It's the same position. Exhale and lower. But I want it to be really gentle, really sensing into each movement, each vertebral movement. And actually, I've found at the moment, post-winter, my cobras, I need them very gentle. So lifting just a little and lower. One more, whichever position you're in. And lower. And then gently push all the way back to child's pose if you're on the mat, or fold over a cushion if you're in the chair. Now, I send you to child's pose because I find it really comfortable, and that's a little bit, I'm assuming things. So if there's a different option for you that feels better, take it. Then come back up to tabletop. And, okay, we're going to do something slightly different. So I'll show you from the mat first of all. We're going to come up into gate pose, and we have done this before. So stretching the back, the leg nearest the camera out, it's my right leg, and dropping the foot. So the leg's turning a bit, taking the bent knee out to the back, a bit like a kickstand, and then lifting the hand to the sky in its first position. Lovely, brilliant. And then let it come down. Exactly the same if you are seated. Take one leg out and lift the hand to the sky. You're opening up the chest, opening up the heart. We'll do that once more. So lifting, opening up the heart. Brilliant. And then be strong through the core, strong through the belly, strong through the chest. We're going to rise up. I need a bit more space for my leg. Coming into a baby warrior 2. Brilliant. You can be on a seat to do this, stretching one leg out. Pause. And if this doesn't feel good kneeling, certainly do it on the chair. One leg bent, one leg straight, arms come out. And if your legs need to be different, that's okay. We're going to tip it to one side. So dropping the hand to the outstretched leg and taking the arm over. And sensing back into compassion. And then windmilling the arms back down if you're on the mat, and pushing all the way back to child's pose, or cuddling into your cushion if you're in a chair. Pause. Notice. If this hurts your knees, you can put a blanket under the knees or do it in the chair. We'll do the other side, so I'll swap sides so that you can see me. So back up to tabletop, stretch out the front leg, drop the foot, the other leg goes out to the back to give you support. Open up the chest, open the heart. Lovely. Giving space in the heart. Space for extra compassion for you first. Let it come down. Pause. One more. Open up the heart. You can take your gaze up if you wish. I might fall over, but that's all right. And we're going to rise up. So strong through the belly, strong muscles around the trunk, rising up, coming into your baby warrior 2. And breathe. You can also do this lying flat on your back. Lying flat, take the arms out to the side, stretch out one leg and bend the other. Doesn't matter what it looks like. And if your arms ache, take them to your hips as well. Yeah, that's okay too. And drop a hand to the outstretched leg and take the other one over. And again, it doesn't matter where this arm goes, it's all about the stretch through the side. And then take the hands all the way back down. And come back to your resting pose of choice, whether it's over a cushion or it's child's pose, whatever you want to do. And notice where sensation shifts to. Because we're not all the same, and it's different on different days. Okay, we're going to come up to standing, so you can, or sitting tall, whichever you prefer. So either you can meet me sitting tall or standing, or you can come with me through a downward facing dog, whatever feels good. If you're coming through a downward dog, come back to tabletop, take the hands a little bit in front, tuck the toes, hover the knees, sit bones back and up in your downward dog for a moment, and then walk feet to hands, hands to feet, coming into a fold. Then bend the knees generously, lengthen through the spine, and rise all the way up, reaching for the sky. Let that go. Okay. Sitting or standing. Pause and notice. Notice how you feel. And take a hug. One hand round to shoulder, one hand round to ribs, whichever side feels good to you. Drop the head, have a squeeze. Sensing back into self-compassion, or the idea, the seed of self-compassion, where self-compassion might live, where self-care might rest within the body. And let that go. We're going to have a little shake. Shake of the arms, shake them up, shake them down, shake them around. You might add a leg. I'll have to do short legs because I don't mean my legs are too little, I just mean I'm a bit wobbly. Have a wiggle and pause. Notice the sensation through your hands actually when you stop shaking. we're going to have a version of our breath of joy. And I know there's many different versions, but this is the one that we usually do. So, seated or standing, inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, lift the arms down. Inhale, take the arms out, chest opens. Exhale, take the arms back. Inhale, take the arms up again. Exhale, soften the knees, hinge at the hips and let it go. Seated or standing. Then rise back up again. We'll do that once more. But when we do the fold over, really let out a breath, should you choose. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, let them come down. Inhale, take them out, open the heart. Exhale, let them go. Inhale, take them back up. Exhale, soften the knees, hinge at the hips. And hang for a moment. And come back up. Beautiful. Beautiful. Just making sure everyone comes back up. Oh, there we are. We've still lost one, but I think she's out the room. We don't want anybody on the floor stuck there. Have a little shimmy and a shake. And think again about the self-compassion and self-love. And perhaps how we might receive self-compassion, self-love to you, from you. And in fact, I think everybody that's in the Zoom room has done this before. Not all with me, but thinking about receiving, and one of the embodiment poses we look at is receiving pose. The back leg is bent a little, the front knee is straight, but you can do this seated, it doesn't matter. Hands are in front, and it's as though if you imagine a puppy was about to jump into your arms. So that's how or your cat. So that's the stance that you're going to take. A lovely, beautiful puppy or cat or a small child going to jump into your arms. So you don't want your arms out here because you'll drop them. So you want them that sort of here. Receiving. And imagine receiving compassion and love from you, from yourself, or from someone else, from this group. And notice how that feels in your body. If you get an ache in the leg, change your leg position. It's okay. Notice if this is uncomfortable to use just as a concept. You might swap sides. Front leg is straight, weight is towards the back. Receiving. The cat of compassion jumping into your arms. Or the dog, if you prefer dogs. And pause. Notice how it feels. Notice if it's taking any shape or colour or location, if it's growing at all. And then think about giving. And giving is the opposite, where the weight is in the front knee is bent, and we're not leaning, but there's a forward direction, and the arms are a bit more open because we're giving, we're more open to give. But perhaps two things here. You might find you rush to give. And I know that every single person in the Zoom room rushes to give. That might be my assumption, but I think it's true. But maybe you can give to you. Swap sides if you wish. Is it familiar? Is it uncomfortable? Is it immediately directed outwards to others? And let that go and come back to either a hug or hand on heart, hand on belly. Back to self-compassion, self-love. Okay, have a shimmy, have a shake. We're going to come into a little Warrior 1 flow. Now, those that know me know that I'm obsessed with Warrior 2 flow, so we're just pushing into a bit of a Warrior 1. You can do a version of this seated, that's no problem. You can also do this holding on to something if you need to, so be sure that you have what's right for you. So, pointing in the direction of the short edge of your mat or imaginary mat to start with. One leg forward, one leg back. Similar position to the giving. Front knee is bent. I'll swap this way first because I think my legs show up better. Inhale and sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale, let them go, let the legs soften. Inhale, sweep them up. Exhale, let them go. Now you almost have the movement of giving and receiving here. Because as you give, that front knee is bent and you haven't stopped there, you've gone up. But you can take the arms out. And as you exhale and let go, I naturally bend the back knee and let the front leg go straight and drop the arms. So just be aware of that, how that feels. Inhale, come back up. Back leg is strong. The strength of your Warrior 1. And then, you might wish to take your hands to your hips so your arms don't drop off. Shift the weight into the front foot and bring this back leg so you can most of your weight is in the front leg, just using the tiptoes of the other leg. If you're seated, you can do this and just lift the other leg off the ground. And then we're going to stretch it back into a Warrior 3. So let me show you. If you want to sit, that's fine. I'll show you what you can do instead. We're stretching it back, hinging at the hips and leaning on something. Unless you've got good balance, make sure the standing leg is soft at the knee. You can use your chair. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's not about the shape. It doesn't matter. Or if you're sitting in a chair, one knee is straight, the other might come up and then it might go back a little. Take the arms up. You're balancing as well. You've just shifted it from when you're in your Warrior 1 with your foot supporting you, lifting the leg up, balancing onto one side when you're seated. So see how that feels. Coming back, you might take your arms out in front or you might keep hold of something. And then when you're ready, come back to Warrior 1 and let that go. Pause and notice. Maybe take a hand to heart and belly or a hug. The inner strength of your warrior is part of your self-love, self-compassion. It takes a bit of inner strength to give yourself self-love, self-compassion. Okay, have a shimmy, have a shake. Let's do that on the other side, however is best for you. So, let me make sure I've got my legs right. What did I do? Yes. Otherwise I'm going to be doing exactly the same on each end of the mat. So 1 foot forward, bend into that knee, take up the arms into your Warrior 1. Exhale, straighten the front leg, bend the back knee, let the arms go. Inhale, sweep up, arms are strong, back leg is strong. Exhale, let that go. One more. Inhale, arms up. Feel the strength of your warrior. And let that go. Hands might come to hips. Take the weight into that front leg. So the back leg can touch even if you're seated. We're going to hinge at the hips, maybe take the back leg behind. You can do it just like that, just be in one long line. Or you can hinge further or a bit further but hold on to something. Whatever feels best for you today. And then when you're ready, come back to warrior one. Arms up. And let that go. Pause and notice. Hand on heart, hand on belly, or take a hug. The hug. For the benefit of the people watching the recording, the hug is the pose of choice. We've also got some hugs being tested out on opposite sides, and I do encourage that even if I don't model it. I'm not very good at hugging on the opposite side. There's perhaps a message in there. Coming back to self-kindness, self-love, self-compassion. Okay. Find a position either on the mat or the chair. Coming down and resting, knowing that we're going to cool down a little, have a short relaxation, then a guided meditation practice. And then for those that are staying, we have the last half hour of creativity with music playing and doing whatever you wish. We don't record that bit. So down to the mat. Maybe bringing the knees back into the chest, or if you are in a seat, take your hands to your knees and maybe even lean forwards a little. Then I'm going to take some circles again, but let the arms join in as well. So knees towards chest, arms come up and overhead. Knees go out to the side, arms go out to the side. Knees go down to the bottom, hands go down to the bottom and come back in. Round and back, almost like a flower, opening and closing. And just explore that. You might prefer to do it just with the arms and keep the knees flat, the feet flat. Or you might prefer to do it just with the knees and keep the hands on the knees. And I'll just show you from a seat. Knees might come up and come down. Arms might join in. And change direction if you are still going in the same direction. I'm trying to work out what direction I was going in. And then pause. Maybe take the feet flat, a little wider, and let the knees drop in together. Pause and notice. Have another little twist here. So twist is really good at the end of a practice. I'll show you seated in a second. But going to come back to that kind of pigeon. So you can flex a foot and take ankle to thigh. Now if that feels a bit too intense, take the foot further away. If you want it to be a bit stronger, bring the foot on the mat closer. And have a little rock side to side. You're encouraging that upper thigh away. And as you rock side to side, then drop the foot over to the mat. It might only go part way down. You can stick a block under it or a cushion. Or it might go all the way down. If it goes all the way down, you might find your body turns. That's okay. You can put a cushion behind your shoulder, or you can roll out and stretch. Stay there for a few breaths, and I'll just show you seated as well. Same thing applies. Foot might be further away, the foot on the mat, and you might just cross the ankle, or it might come closer. And we're just going to rock side to side. And as you rock the knees to one side, you can then turn the body to the other. You might do it with the foot across the thigh. And again, just turn the body to the other side, whichever feels best. Whichever way you've done it, you can come back to centre and we'll swap sides. Foot flat, flex the other one, foot on the thigh or the ankle, pick your lower foot position, rock side to side, and drop the leg over to wherever feels good. Have a shimmy of your upper body and let it find its best spot. Pause. Gently bring it back to centre. Bring the knees into the chest again, or if you're in the seat, fold over your cushion, have a little rock side to side, and then stretch out for Shavasana. So Shavasana will just have a couple of minutes of relaxation before the meditation. So you can stretch out the legs, or you can keep the knees bent and have the feet, the knees drop in together. Whatever feels good. Have a quick scan through the body, and perhaps in this relaxation part of the practice, focus on, or an invitation to focus on compassion and love in the heart. We have 2 minutes here. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Just bring it back to the breath. One more minute here. Take any movements you need. Now, if you wish to remain in this position for the guided meditation, please do. Otherwise, you might take a stretch A deeper breath. Gently come to seated or find where you need to be. If you need to get another layer or a drink before the guided meditation, do so now. I'll come back and sit over there. Settling into that position that's right for you. And a focus on compassion, both inwards and outwards. Receiving and giving. Beginning with self-kindness, self-love. And through this practice, bringing your attention back to the belly, the chest, the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, and the breath. Inhaling, finding expansion. Exhaling with love. An invitation to come with me in your mind's eye, in your imagination, for a walk. We're by the sea. The sky above is bright. Some clouds dotted here and there, but sunshine strong and warm. Perhaps the seagulls talking. And an expanse of sand. It lies ahead, disappearing into the distance. Blending in with the sea. Gentle waves. And at one end of the beach is a pathway upwards. Intermittent sandy steps that have been trodden for many years. Clumps of dewny grass. A pathway leading you upwards. A breeze might be a bit fresher as you climb, keeping you cool. In reaching the top, there's a bench beckoning you, allowing you to pause and rest and look at the vista before you. Settling here, resting, and letting your eyes look out but your attention look in, and noticing the belly, the chest, the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, and the breath. Inhaling with expansion. Exhaling with love. Awareness of both feet, the ankles and lower legs, the knees and the thighs, right up to the hips. Perhaps you can sense or imagine both legs filling with the breath, expanding and noticing the belly, the chest, the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, and the breath. Inhaling, finding expansion. Exhaling with love. Moving awareness from the legs to the arms, from the fingertips, through each finger and thumb, to the hands and the wrists, the lower arms, the elbows, the upper arms and the shoulders, and perhaps you can sense or imagine the arms filled with the breath, filled with compassion, filled with love. And notice the belly, the chest, the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, and the breath. Inhaling with expansion, exhaling with love. Moving your awareness to the belly and the pelvis. Perhaps compassion rests here. Sensing, imagining the belly, the pelvis filling with the breath. And notice the belly, the chest, the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, and the breath. Inhale, finding expansion. Exhale with love. Moving awareness to the chest, the ribs, the lungs, and the heart. Perhaps this is where compassion rests, maybe in part. Sensing, imagining the chest filling with the breath, bringing nourishment, filling with love. And notice the belly, the chest, the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, and the breath. Inhale, sensing expansion. Exhale, feeling love. Awareness of the head, the eyes, the ears, the cheeks, the forehead, the chin, the jaw, the mouth, the lips, the tongue. And perhaps you can sense or imagine the whole of the head filling with the breath. And notice the belly, the chest, the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, and the breath. Inhale with expansion. Exhaling with love. Sensing the whole body here. The whole body filling with the breath. The whole body filling with compassion and love. Self-compassion. Self-love. And perhaps imagine sending that compassion and love out into the world. And notice the belly, the chest, the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, and the breath. Inhale, expanding. Exhale with love. And allowing your awareness to rest here for the next couple of minutes. The belly, the chest, the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet and the breath. Inhaling, expanding, exhaling with love. Resting in this place, on this bench, with this view, the sounds and the sights of the sea and the beach. It's time to wander back down the path, back down the steps, back to where we came from. Knowing you can come back, visit again anytime you choose. As we reach the end of this practice, an invitation to come back to the sense of compassion within and where it sits in the body, in your body. Self-compassion, self-love. Take any movements you need, perhaps a stretch or hand to heart, hand to belly, or take a hug. And slowly, as you are ready, coming back to where we began. If you're watching the recording, we'll stop the recording here. We will be moving to the creativity practice, but I will put a link to the playlist with the recording so you can take some time for you. And for creativity, take that as anything you wish to do, whether it's drawing, painting, spinning yarn, thinking, planning, journaling, reading, cooking, walking, whatever you wish to do. Thank you for joining us.